What's up, guys? So I am a used car dealer and this is my car lot, and I'm going to show you something that I've been able to do just in the past 2 weeks that we haven't been able to do in about the past year. But I'm going to turn you around here and show you our lot. And right now we are full of cars, with this exception there's a few spots right there. We actually sold a few yesterday, and really sales have been few and far between lately. But what I want to talk about is the reason why we haven't been able to keep a full lot over the last year is that prices have been astronomical at auctions. We all know this. If you're watching this, you probably follow the used car market a little bit, and you know that prices are just crazy high. But what's happened right now is we've had a flip in the market where prices are starting to come down a little bit at auction. And on top of that, we're entering the slowest time of year for used car dealers, which is right now. It's December, and we're going to be going into January in the near future. And this is the absolute worst time to be a used car dealer because sales just kind of drop off a cliff. Even now, when sales have been up over the last year, they're following just dramatically. But the prices have been still elevated and they're coming down. But we're starting to see this flip, especially on the wholesale side. You probably haven't seen it on the retail side yet, but even me, we keep cheaper prices, but we're not really selling very many cars right now. So what we're having to do is we're having to lower even our prices, and I'm lowering them by about $400 or $500 each car, and that's helping us drive a little bit of sales to us. But that's something that we're having to do right now. And I really have a feeling that this is happening across the whole used car market right now. I pay attention to a lot of the dealerships that are near me, and I'm seeing a lot of the same trends. They have all been empty for the greater part of this past year, and now I'm starting to see them all fill up. And this is really a terrible thing for most dealers, but it's actually a great thing for us, and I'll tell you why. So we have 90 cars, and I pay cash for all of my cars. I don't have any debt. I don't like debt. I don't use a floor plan. I don't have to pay any interest. But most other dealers, if they have a car like this and it sits there for a month, and they have interest payments that they have to pay on top of what they've already paid for the car, on top of fees that they have to pay for their floor plan. So if they're not selling anything, it might not be that big of a deal on one car, but if they have an interest payment of, let's just say $100 on this car for borrowing money on it over the course of a month, if they are a lot the size of mine and they have 90 cars and they're not really selling anything, over 1 month, they have to pay $9,000 in fees to keep all these cars floored, to keep all these cars financed. So, I mean, you add that up, that's $9,000 on a 90 car lot. And these dealers don't have money to begin with. So I really think why you're not seeing a lot of prices drop on the retail end is because a lot of these dealers are either unwilling or unable to drop their prices at this moment. Like I was saying, as they are racking up these interest fees, their costs are going up in the cars that they have. So if they drop their prices, they're actually getting down to a point where they're either going to break even or they're going to flip, where they start losing money on cars. And we just got out of the golden age. The last 2 years, not making money on a car is unheard of. So we're going to get to the point where these dealers are going to have to change their way of thinking to say, okay, I need to preserve some capital. I need to get out of some of these cars. And that's a hard switch to flip, but they're going to have to do it because right now they're seeing that they're not able to sell cars at the prices that they're listing them for.
So I just want to pause the video real quick right here. If you like getting these market updates, if you like seeing the struggles that us, the used car dealers, have to go through, please subscribe to the channel. I do this kind of stuff all the time. Please like the video. Leave me a comment if you have any questions. I get to just about every comment I can. But again, if you like these kind of updates, please subscribe to the channel, and let's get back to it.
And like I said earlier, they might be unable to actually lower their prices because they don't have the difference. So if they take losses on these cars, they have to pay their floor plan companies back what they borrowed on the cars. But if they're taking a lot of losses on these cars and they didn't have money to begin with, then how are they going to pay off the difference? And if they're not able to pay off the difference on these floor plans, then one, they either get their floor plan drastically reduced, which lowers their capital, or they get their floor plan cut completely. If they get their floor plan cut completely, then that might mean that they can't buy any more cars because they don't have any cash. And if they're out of money to buy cars, then they're just out of business because, I mean, let's face it, this is all about inventory. And if you don't have inventory, you can't sell anything. If you can't sell anything, you can't make money. So all these things put together, I don't think that's what's going to break the market, but what I do think could break the market is an event that's coming up, and I'm going to tell you about that in just a minute.
And I thought this was where I was going to ask you to subscribe to the channel, but it got a little late in the video, so I did that a little bit earlier. So I'm not going to do that again. But the event that I wanted to talk to you about is Tax Time. Now, I've talked about Tax Time on my channel before, not really extensively. I'm going to do a video on that soon, but what I want you to understand about Tax Time is dealers are never prepared for Tax Time. I get the same dealers, my buddies, that call me every year at the end of February, say, "Hey, we just sold almost all of our lot in 1 week. I don't know what happened. It's tax time." They're stupid. They never prepare for it. But what happens is these tax checks hit and people get refunds back, and they rush to these car lots because they're using the tax refund as their savings account. They get all this money at once, so they're going to go buy a car. So they go buy cars from dealers. They go buy cars from dealers like me. Just for an example, I'm trying to have 150 cars by the time tax checks roll around, and we'll sell almost every car within about a 10-day span because these people just go crazy with all this money that they just get, all these tax time ballers. They're coming, they're buying cars, and all these other dealers, they're not prepared for it. They sell out their lot, and then what do? They rush to the auction. And every year we have the same thing happen. The auction prices spike for about a month. From the end of February to the end of March, the prices for cars, particularly in the $10,000 and under range cars, spike. They'll go up 20-30% in the course of 1 week. But guess what? This year's tax time is going to be different than any other tax time we've ever experienced, and that's because new car dealers are not selling cars. So that means they're not getting trade-ins, and if they're not getting trade-ins, they're not taking these cars to the auction for car dealers like me to be able to purchase. So when all these car dealers go all at once to go refill their lots, guess what? We still don't have any inventory from these new car dealers. Inventory on the wholesale level has been building a little bit, but it's because used car dealers haven't been buying. But now if you add in this tax time rush, all these used car dealers going to the auction to bid on the same few amount of cars that we have available right now. And guess what? New cars are not going to be selling any better 2 months from now than they are right now because rates are not going to change from now until then. So there's going to be this massive rush for these little amount of cars. We do not have enough inventory coming from these new car dealers to service the demand that's going to happen because people are going to get tax checks. They might be smaller, but they're going to get tax checks. So there's going to be a bump in used car sales over this 2 week period when people start getting this money in. These dealers, they're going to sell out of their cars. They might not sell out completely. There might be lower sales this year, but even if they sell out a half, even if it's half of what it usually is, they're still going to rush to the auction because they're going to have cash in their hand at that point. They just got it from the customers, and they're going to be fighting for all these cars. So what I do is I load up before tax time. I know it's coming every year, so I usually carry 75 to 80 cars throughout the year, or at least I've wanted to. It's been tough the last year with inventory shortage and everything. We've been hovering around like 60, 65. But I'm going to load up. I'm going to have 150 cars. I'm going to have way more than what I usually have. We're going to be able to fit as many as we can on our lot. We can probably get about 75, 80 on our lot, and then we've got a storage lot that we're able to store the rest of our cars. We're going to store up. We're going to load up, and we're going to be able to sell all these cars. And then after we sell them, I'm not going to auction to pay these crazy prices. We'll go on vacation from buying cars for a month and a half. So during that time frame when these prices are crazy at auction, I mean they're going to be the craziest that we've ever seen. All the pandemic high prices that we've seen is going to be nothing compared to what we're going to see at the end of February and throughout March. The prices that these dealers are going to pay because they're going to panic and need to buy these cars. And they're going to get overexposed, and they're going to buy too much because they think that the sales are going to keep going. They do the same thing every year. Every year in the used car market, we get the spike at tax time, and then we get a crash because as soon as the tax money gets here, is as quick as it leaves. These people get their money in their hands and they spend it. So 2 weeks after these first tax checks hit, the money is then gone. Like I said, we sell all of our cars in that 10-day span, and we drastically lower our prices after that period if we haven't sold some. If we have some cars that maybe aren't as desirable, we thought we got a good price on them, but it turns out the market's telling us that they don't really want them, we cut those prices to the bone. We get rid of everything because we know that used car prices are just about to crash. And it's so funny how it happens. There's a spike for 2 weeks, and then it starts to decline just a little bit, and then you realize what happens is all these dealers, they overexpose themselves, and then the market just completely tanks. So I think this is the moment that could break the used car market, and when you can start seeing a drastic downward slope in the prices. Now, if you're a subscriber to my channel, if you've watched a lot of my videos, you know that I've been talking about how I don't see how any used car price crash can happen in the next couple months. I've been saying that for the last 2 months because we just don't have the inventory. But I think this event right here could actually crash the market, and it's not because the inventory is coming in. It's because I think these dealers are so stupid that they're going to get so overexposed because they see this money that they haven't seen for a few months, and they're going to think all the cash is coming back in, and they're going to empty their lots, and they're going to pay even more than what they were a couple months ago, and then they're just going to start the whole train over again. But a lot of these dealers, they're already so overexposed. They've already stretched their credit limits so much that as they fill up their lot with this higher amount, higher priced inventory, the demand is not going to be there on the other side. And I think that is what's going to really just kick this market in the pants, because there's just not going to be anyone to buy these cars. The money's going to be gone. The interest rates are still going to be up. There's not going to be any money out there anymore, and these dealers are going to be stuck with these cars that they paid way too much for, and there's no buyers to be found. So if you made it to the end of this video, thank you so much for watching. Please subscribe to the channel. I do market updates like this all the time. I try to give you advice of when to buy, sell your car, how to get your car repaired. If you're subscribed and you leave me a comment, you leave me a question, I will absolutely get to it. I am here to help. I want to answer your questions. And I just really hope you get something from this video. What I'm telling everybody now, if they're asking about buying a car, still wait. I want you to, if you have to buy one in the near future, you need to buy one in the next month and a half before tax time hits. But if you don't have to, wait 6 months, wait till the end of next year. You're going to get much better prices. Prices are going to get way better. There is a crash coming. We just have to wait for it. So I hope you have a great rest of your day, and as always, thank you for watching.